Apparently, I took too long getting this woman her quesadilla burger, so in protest she pooped on the table. Cops were called and a fun time was had by all. Waiters of Reddit, what's some ducked up crap you overheard while waiting tables? So glad to see you again, viewer. It's been so long. I hope you still remember me. I'm Andrew, your narrator. While you're here, why not hit like and subscribe so we don't miss any more story times together. If you don't, I'll tell your girlfriend you're cheating on her. Oh wait, you don't have a girlfriend. Ha, we got a simp over here. Anyways, hope you did that. Let's get to the good stuff. You see here people cheating on their partners more than I expected. Had a guy cry right before I gave them dessert menus. He was just saying over and over again, "You make me feel like a failure," to his wife. I just dropped them off and said, "Whenever you're ready." Often would have groups of women who shame each other into sharing dishes they clearly intended to eat themselves. Oh, you won't eat all that, right? It's so much food. It's extremely uncomfortable. I served this table who got a phone call that their son had been in a horrible car accident just as they got their food. Their reaction was super rough. I was clearing a table at a 40th when I heard the mother of the birthday boy, a lady I would guess was in her 70s, loudly proclaim, "40 years ago today, son, my pussy was wrapped around your head." I couldn't help but burst out laughing. The son looked mortified. Sometimes when I go out to eat, I like to pretend like I was just saying something awful as the server comes up to the table. Things that make you wonder the context. And that was the last time I took a shower with my dad. Ever since then they have really increases the security at the daycare place. After that I had to use a catheter for weeks. I worked in a resort, so I've heard a number of failed marriage proposals. I've commented about them before. The worst was the guy who got "I've told you X, I'm never going to marry you." He stormed off and she finished the desert the ring came on. He eventually came back though. Felt bad for him, but she clearly wasn't leading him on. I'm fairly certain I witnessed the beginnings of a divorce. I don't remember the specifics, but it started out as a normal couple, but soon turned to a lot of "why didn't you tell me, you should have, can we not do this in public?" and things of the sort. The husband left before the meal was over and the wife was crying. Giving the check to her was one of the most awkward things I've ever done. A mother and daughter. The mother was telling the daughter how she had a new family and there wasn't room for her, so she had to go live with her dad. Edit for more info. The daughter was around 12 or so. When I was taking the order, the mom was bragging about how awesome her new family was. When I came back to check up, I heard, "So I don't have time for you anymore, and you have to go with dad." Lots of tears ensued. Only reason I didn't spit in her food was because she already had her food. I was praying she ordered dessert. I heard of some large-scale drug dealers talking about how many of their mules died trying to get balloons of coke out of their ass. They shared laughs showing pictures of the odds. Later saw that one of them was an informant and the whole building was surrounded by D and the FBI. They drug him out in cuffs and gunpoint and ripped apart the cars. Gotta love Steak and Shake at 1 a.m. Edit. Mostly D, but I did see several FBI coats. I have more crazy stories if anyone wants one about a server pulling a gun on a customer, let me know lol, they just don't involve hearing what the customers were saying. It's a Steak and Shake at Rosemont in Chicago. Once we had a table, a middle-aged couple, hashing out their divorce over some very expensive steaks. It was clear the husband had initiated the conversation and probably did so in a restaurant to prevent a blowout argument. The wife was very unhappy and inquired about the woman he played tennis with. Based on his reaction, she wasn't far off the mark. They were seated in the middle of a fairly intimate restaurant, so most of the patrons and staff could hear. We all felt really bad for her. Had a two-top come in around 7 o'clock at night. Seemed pretty normal, older Spanish-looking man with a little Asian girl. Long story short, we gave out coloring paper and crayons for the little ones. So by the time I got to bussing my table to seat another, I found the little girl's paper and in red crayon was written, "Call the police." At the time I was pretty sure it was the little girl just messing around, but I do not take something like this lightly. Human trafficking is a thing. So I informed my manager and we called the police. Turns out it was not a human trafficking situation, thank goodness, false alarm, but you can't be too careful. My girlfriend and I have both waited on a dominatrix and a client of hers more than once. It was weird, but not nearly as weird as you might expect. She makes him wear women's underwear under a strategically poorly buttoned button-down shirt so people could potentially see his pink sheer bra and tips really well. Usually asks the hostess for one of the more experienced servers and explains the situation to him or her beforehand. Definitely a little odd, but not like she was pegging him at the table or anything. Not an overheard, but the most ridiculous thing I saw was a group of people that came in often. They were called the gypsies because they split themselves up into groups smaller than our mandatory 20% tip size, but would pick up their plates and migrate between the various tables. On top of this, they would never tip. It was a huge distraction having all these people walking around with hot food while we were trying to do our job. They were noisy and loud and always sent back food and in general were not nice to deal with. Eventually the manager put his foot down and said they would have the 20% charge even if they split up tables. Put an end to practice. This was at an Outback Steakhouse. When I was a waiter, I waited on this table of 3 college girls. Judging by their conversation, one had just lost her virginity the night before. The best part was, though, that she would only talk about how tiny the guy's dick was. She kept asking for reassurance from her friends that not all guys were that small. I felt the urge to go up and offer to show her the right way to do it. After my shift ended, they were still there, so I went for it. Not only did she say yes, but both of her friends did too. We hopped in my car and took a short drive back to my apartment. I didn't have any condoms, but it wasn't a big deal because this was back in 1998 when The Undertaker threw mankind off H5LL in a cell and plummeted 16 feet through an announcer's table. A few years back, I sat 2 women at a table. Walked away to grab their waters and a couple of menus, and when I came back I overheard one of them say, "I just can't deal with him right now. I really can't." After I placed their order I would walk by to check up on them, but that was when it got worse. Things were getting worse between him and I, but now I can't break up with him because he has cancer. I couldn't believe those words came out of this Elaine nutcase. After I serviced another table I walked by to check in on them. He's been going to his oncologist, but the silver lining is that it doesn't look good, which means I might not have to break up with him after all. I had a guy, white man, looked mid-50s aged, come in on a busy day with his wife. They were very pleasant and tipped nicely. He came back the very next day with her. As they were leaving after service, I said to them, "It was nice seeing you two yesterday. Have a great day." He stopped and told her to wait outside while he went to use the restroom. Then he comes back to me and tips me $100 in cash and told me next time I serve him to never say that to him again, just a simple "have a great day." I was like, okay. Apparently the second time he dined in he was actually with his wife and the woman the previous day was someone else. I guess I didn't pay too much attention to detail. Then he comes back again the next day with a really young black girl. And I just realized he was dating escorts. He left me a very generous tip to keep my mouth shut. Edit. I didn't clarify earlier, but I was a tea server in a hotel. One day I was grabbing the iPad for OpenTables from the main restaurant, and I saw him there, with a different black woman. He had a bouquet of roses displayed on their table. American-born Hispanic waiter. Racism. Once a couple had just got sat when the woman turned to the man and said, "Let's ask him if he can take a picture of us," and pointed to me while I was walking through making sure my section was clean. He replies he probably doesn't speak English. I finish wiping a table and then walk over and, in the Ducking King's English, say, "Hi, my name is Verbanablu and I will be your server. I can start you off with one of our signature cocktails, and if you would like I would be more than happy to take your picture for you." He did not look happy in the picture. Another time it wasn't my section, but I was passing through, and this older lady turned to her duck stick and said, "It's cold in here, ask him if he can turn the heat up," to which he replied, "He probably doesn't speak English." Sigh. So I go get 2 glasses of water and walk over to them, placed the glasses on the table slowly, while looking at them with a dumb innocent smile, and then before I depart. I stood up straight and in the king's ducking English said, "Hello, my name is Bourbonablu, and although I will not be your server tonight, I have brought some water for you, and I will request that the management adjust the temperature as well." As I was walking away I heard him say, "What? How was I supposed to know?" He didn't say anything. Duck me, am I supposed to wear a shirt that says, "I assure you I speak English while serving"? Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.